Hello, people of the world, and welcome back on the Marry in Motion podcast. Today I'm joined by Yonas.
Hello.
That you might have heard in previous episodes. We did one some month ago about his super long trip from Brussels to Singapore by bike.
Yep, I went for a 9 months trip from Brussels to Singapore, went to 20 different countries, and we had 30-minute podcast to talk about it and a little summary of it.
But today we want to focus more about a specific part of your trip, which was 3 months in India and Nepal. That's right.
I spent 2 months in India, 1 month in Nepal, which were two countries that I really, really loved, and we're here to talk about it.
Yes, let's go. So you chose to spend a very big part of your trip in India and Nepal. Was it planned beforehand?
Not really. So when we started the cycling trip, we cycled all the way to Georgia, and then two possibilities. Either you go through Iran and Pakistan, but it's not really safe. You gotta accept the risk if you do that. Or you take a flight and go to India to continue. My friend wanted to go by bike through Iran and Pakistan, and I didn't want to. So the solution we found was that I traveled to India while he was doing Iran and Pakistan, and I wanted to spend more time in India. He didn't want it to, so the solution worked for everybody, and that's what we ended up doing.
And were you attracted to India before going?
I don't know, I've been attracted to India for a long time, and I watched really tons and tons of Arte documentaries about India. I like the chaos of Indian cities, so many people in the same place, the anthill vibe of the city, the diversity in India, the diversity in culture, in landscape, in the way of living, and it's so different than the way we live here. And there is 1 billion people living there. We know nothing about them, so I was really intrigued about that. I wanted to learn more.
Did you have a goal to learn more, or did you just go with the flow?
A bit of both. I wanted to go all through India. I went from the south all the way to the north, and in the big cities that were recommended, that's what I had in mind. And then through the discussions and to the suggestions, I added some more cities, added some more places, which could be interesting.
And so can you tell us a bit more about how you did it? Like, where did you put your bike? Did you do it walking, transportation?
So when I arrived in India, I flew from Georgia, Tbilisi to Delhi, and I dropped in Delhi, and I had someone that could keep my bike for the 2 months I would travel across India. I found that person on Ramshore. It was a couple of American people that were amazing, and I left my bike on their balcony for 2 months. And when I came to Delhi, it was so different than the Georgia. The first thing that shocked me was the sky. I couldn't see the sky. There was so much smog and a big cloud of pollution, because in the beginning of the year, January, February, it's like that every year, because Delhi is surrounded by mountains, and all the pollution comes and cannot leave. At the same time, there is a religious festival where people keep burning stuff. And also around Delhi, it's the time of the year where the farmers burn their fields. So you cannot see the sky, and you cannot see the top of the buildings because there is so much pollution. It's really crazy. And I arrived to Delhi, I dropped my bike, and 3 days later, I took a flight all the way to the south of India, in Kerala. And it was way different over there. It's below the tropical line, so we're really in the tropical part of the world. It was really amazing. I had to go through the jungle. I could kayak in the rivers over there. Could see some new kinds of monkeys, see new ways of living, but discover new parts of India. And the plan was to start all the way at the south of India and take a bunch of trains to come back to Delhi and pick up my bike. So I think I did between 12 and 15 cities in 2 months using the trains to come back to Delhi.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's cool. And did you focus more on the cities or more in the nature?
Bit of both. So I did the big cities. There are 3 big cities in India: Bombay, Delhi, and Calcutta. I did Calcutta later, but I did the 3 of them because I really like the big cities. They're like I said, anthill, people everywhere. If you look left, right, on top of you, there's always things happening. People are doing stuff. The food is so diversified. The activities are so diversified, and things happen all the time. But it's really overwhelming because there is so much noise, so much thing happening. So you wake up in the morning, you do your day, and at 3 p.m. your head hurts because there's just so much noise, and you gotta go to sleep almost. So in the big cities, you would stay 3 or 4 days and then leave, go in the nature. But it's so diversified that you can just get a train, go further, and go in the forest, in the jungle. There were places where I did the climbing, because there was a place like Fontainebleau, which is known in France, but same in India, where there are rocks where you can go bouldering. There are places where you can go surfing. I mean, it's so diversified. You can go through like trekking, you can do everything. So a bit of both.
And was it easy to travel by train to even more remote areas?
Yes, the train network in India is really well done. Sometimes I would travel by bus, but mostly by train. So the way train works in India, there are different classes. The lowest one is a general class, where you can just buy the ticket 2 hours before, but you don't have an assigned seat. So that means there is everybody. Everybody meaning there are a lot of people. And people rush into the train as it is still running. It's not stopped at the station and people rush into the train. It's really quite something. There are a lot of people. I had this kind of train for 10, 15, 16 hours. So would have to sleep under the benches on other people, or on the luggage holders on other people. And there is tons of people and tons of luggage in these wagons. And when I had a chance, I could go in a little nicer wagons, but I couldn't book it by myself. I had to go through an Indian to book the nicer ones. They were not nice, but they were a little nicer because I had a bed. And it was always 6 beds, 3 on top of one another and 3 on the other side. And during the day, there would only be 2 benches, and at night, we would lay down the 3 beds and everybody would go to sleep. There would still be a lot of noise, but it's nicer than general class. So a lot of trains, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a lot of videos about these kind of trains.
Yeah, the doors don't close, and also there are people coming by to sell chai, which is the tea, coffee, to sell food. You can buy anything in a train, because if you can be traveling for 1, 2, 3 days, so you gotta buy the food, gotta buy the water, you can buy everything on the train.
People spend 3 days in general class standing and sleeping there.
That's a bit hardcore, but it's possible. If you want to go from north to south of India, it would take 3 days.
Oh, wow. And what was the longest train ride you took?
16 hours, I think.
Oh, and you were in general class?
Yeah, I was in general class, sleeping on a luggage holder. Not sleeping is a big word, but I wasn't sleeping. But at least I had a luggage holder, and once you have a spot, you don't move, because if you go to the toilet, someone else is gonna take it.
So you didn't pee for 16 hours?
I made friends with another Indian that kept my spot, but you gotta do this kind of strategy.
Oh, wow. And how did the locals react to you being there? Because I guess there is not so much tourists.
No, in the places I went to, there wasn't a lot of tourists, and I was always traveling the cheapest way you can do. They found it funny that I was over there, and that I was taking it so well, that I liked being there. But they always find it funny. They'd share stuff with me, like we'd share the chai, we'd share the food. I'd buy them chai and they'd buy me something else, and we'd start talking. And a lot of people speak English in India, so it was interesting to have discussions in the train.
Yeah, what was the most interesting discussion you had?
People would explain where they come from, where they work, the class they're in, because there is still the class system in India. They would go to weddings, they tell me about the recipes they were doing. Interesting discussions.
And were there some moments when you thought, what am I doing here?
Of course. When you travel to India, you know that you're gonna get sick, because if you eat the food in the street, like street food, as I was doing, you know you're gonna get sick. What's advised is that the first week you only eat rice and maybe beans or lentils, something really chill, and bit by bit you go further into the street food, but at some point you're gonna get sick. And I did. So being sick outside when you don't really have a place to sleep, it's not nice, but you go through it. You really wonder, what am I doing here?
So where did you sleep?
I did a bit of everything. In some cities I had a hostel, but it was rare. I slept in a lot of train stations, because in the train stations there would be rooms to wait for the trains, and so there are nicer rooms for the higher classes. And in most train stations there wasn't anybody checking if you had a ticket, so I would just sleep in these rooms. I had a survival blanket on the ground, and I had a little sleeping bag, more of a liner than a sleeping bag, and I'd put my backpack below my head and sleep like that. Or I slept in nature. Sometimes I would sleep in nature, and the next day I'd have chai with an Indian. I show him where I slept, and he was like, "You shouldn't sleep there are snakes." But it happens. And yeah, in nature, or I'd use the couch surfing. I also used a lot of couch surfing. Didn't pay a lot of hostels. Only when I was at the beach, I had a hostel, I think. It was a lot of fun. I did meet a lot of people.
I guess so. It's crazy. Did you feel like you really rested when you were sleeping there?
Nope. I was really tired. There was night where I couldn't sleep, and the next day I would sleep during the day, and I'd find a solution. When I was too exhausted, I would go to a calmer city, or find a calmer place, or just contact someone on couchsurfing and ask if I could sleep for the day. And most of the time, I would find something.
Yeah, okay. Because for 2 months, just sleeping in train stations or, I don't know, in the nature. Did you have a tent?
No, I had a really small bag. That was nice. I had a 25-liter bag, Osprey 25-liter, so I could have it all the time with me, and I would never have to leave it anywhere. And I spent 2 months with this bag on my back.
So I guess it changed your relationship with the comfort and the unknown.
For sure, with the comfort, you realize that if you accept comfort, you can really travel for very cheap. So now I try not to get into too much comfort, because I know it's hard to take out comfort. It's easier to add comfort, but it's hard to take out. So if you know that you can live with very little comfort, you can travel very cheap and for a very long time. So that's what I liked about my Indian trip. It was really cheap. I would eat on the street. I would do the activities of the locals and not pay for the accommodation. So really, really cheap.
Did you have moments of fear or doubt about what you were doing?
I didn't get into bad situations in India, so not really fear. There was moments where I would be overwhelmed with people, so I would just say I have to get out of here. But at the end of the day, it was fine. I had doubts about, I'm in the middle of India. I'm sick. Am I gonna get to Delhi on time to meet my friend? But I did made it. It was fine.
What was your favorite city?
I had a few, but one I really liked was Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a small city that I was advised about. It's near Delhi, and it's between the Taj Mahal and Delhi, and it's the city where one of the Indian goddess is born. So it's really important for their religion. A lot of temples are in that city. People are dancing all day in front of the icons. They're really talking about of the religion, trying to get people into the religion and praying all day. There is an icon of 50 meters high, like a goddess with 4 arms on a tiger, but it's 50 meters high. It's crazy. And there were also a lot of monkeys in that city. When I was in the city and I was eating street food, I had my phone on a table outside, and the guy selling the food told me, "Don't put your phone there, or a monkey is gonna steal it." And the same day, I saw 3 people getting their glasses stolen, 2 phones, markets getting stolen from monkeys, and monkeys would go on the roofs and wait, and then the person would have to go buy mango juice, a little yellow brick of mango juice, and throw it to the monkey, and when the monkey gets it and drinks it, he gives the thing back. It was really funny seeing that a few times per day. For the people over there, it's just normal, and it was really interesting. I would also, other than train station, I sleep in Gurudwara temples. The Gurudwaras are Sikh religion, so it's another religion that the Hindu, which is in India, and they welcome everyone. So that have places next to the temples where you can just sleep on the floor. There would be a small carpet on the floor, and you can just sleep there. And I would sleep with a bunch of people. Most of the time, I would sleep with homeless next to a temple, and they would just be okay with it. And yeah, I slept next to a temple and stayed for a few days in the city just to enjoy the vibe and to see what it was like. I really like that city.
It's crazy everything you did and how you were sleeping everywhere. But do you think if you would have been a woman, it would have been possible?
Not in the same way. It would be more dangerous. I had woman friends traveling to India, and you don't travel the same way I did. I could do it away unconscious, but I know my woman friends who went to India, had more problems and had to be around other women. For example, in the train, you wouldn't go by yourself, or if you go by yourself, you find other groups of women and you stay with them. For example, in Holi, the religious celebration, everybody in the street is in the street, everybody's dancing, there are concerts everywhere. But another thing that people don't know is that everybody is high. Like everyone smokes weed or takes drugs, and the women get assaulted a lot, and white women more. A lot of white women go to celebrate Holi, but you don't do it by yourself. It's dangerous. So in India and Pakistan, in some countries, you wouldn't go by yourself as a woman, or you would pay attention to what you're doing.
Everything you say, it sounds so amazing, and I'm like, oh, I would love to do it, but I don't.
You would have to pay attention, or you would at least know where you sleep.
Yeah, not like you and sleeping with homeless.
Yeah, to do that.
Did you have an experience or an encounter that really marked you?
One thing that I really enjoyed traveling to India was the freedom I had, and I had 2 months ahead of me. I could travel to any city and try anything. For example, I'd come to a city, I'd rent a motorcycle and learn to ride a motorcycle. I'd travel to a new city, go climbing, travel to a new city, go surfing, meet new people, learn a lot about the culture, go visit museums, go visit monuments, and being by myself with all that freedom, that's something I really enjoy. It's not always easy to be by yourself, but it adds a lot of freedom.
So do you regret living with someone for your trip?
No, because being able to share the experience with someone is also something I really enjoyed. I liked to have the two parts of the trip, where I was with my friends and when I was by myself. Because when you're by yourself, I heard someone say that, and I think that's true, the high are higher, but the low are also lower. Because the higher, you made it by yourself, you're with people you like, you're in amazing places, it's really nice. But when you're alone and you get in a bad situation, you're alone and you gotta take care of it by yourself. So there were times where I would be by myself, would be sick, or would be without anyone that I could share it with, and I would be sad about it, and other moments it would be amazing.
So you had a bit of both, so that was fine.
For sure.
And so you said after spending 2 months in India, you went to Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any difference? How was it?
Yeah, I saw a difference. So what I did is that I came back to Delhi by train, I picked up my bike, and Nepal is 3 days of cycling away from Delhi. So I cycled all the way there. And
so you met your friend there?
I
And you
met
went
my
together?
friend, at the border of Nepal.
Okay.
So we went to Nepal together. In Nepal, first thing that shocked us is that you don't hear anything anymore. In India, you always hear the honking noises of the tuk-tuk, the cars, the motorcycles. And in Nepal, it's really calm. They really love their nature. You can even see on the banking notes, each banking note has a different animal, and they really pay attention to their nature. There's a bunch of natural preserves. They really pay attention to all the natural spaces they can have. And then the nature is magnificent in Nepal. It's not that big of a country when you compare it with India, but the mountains are amazing, the natural reserves are amazing. They really pay attention to the nature, and it's more calm compared to India.
Do you think that the nature is prettier there because they take more care of it, or just...
I think they take more care of it, because there is a bit of both, I'd say. India is so big. There are parts in India where it's really natural reserves. For example, there are parts of India where you can see lions in the wild, tigers in the wild. But in Nepal, it's smaller and it's part of the religion, part of the culture. So they really take care of it.
And so you told me that over there you did a silent retreat.
Mm-hmm.
How was it, and where did you get this idea?
So in Georgia, I was talking with 2 other cyclist travelers, and they told us about the retreat they did. It's called a Vipassana silent retreat, and it's a 10 days retreat where you meditate 10 hours per day. And with my friends, 3 months before the retreat, we decided to sign up. And we looked at it, and we really thought it was interesting. The principle is that you arrive there, and for 10 days you cannot talk to people in the eyes, look at people in the eyes. You don't do anything but meditate and eat and sleep. So that's something we wanted to try, because there is no other context where you would meditate 10 hours per day during 10 days. And as we had a year that was free, it was a good time to try it. And it's really quite a big experience. I started meditating 3 months prior to this, because when you arrive there, you start by meditating an hour, and if you've never meditated for 1 hour before, it's really hard. So I started 3 months prior to it, using apps and just reading online. Then when I arrived there, you wake up at 4 in the morning with the gong, so you hear that and you know that you have to go meditate. And most of the time would be 2 hours meditation, breakfast, 3 hours meditation, then a lunch and a break. Then you would have 2 hours, the tea, then 3 hours you eat, and at the end of the day you have a video that explains the principle of what you're doing, because prior to each meditation session they would explain what you should focus on. The principle of Vipassana is that first you focus on the breath that's below your nose, and you focus so much that you're gonna be able to feel the breath coming out and in your nose. It's really hard because at first your mind wanders around. You can focus on this for 10, 15, maybe 30 seconds, then your mind's gonna wander, but you gotta go back to focusing on the breath. And you do that for a whole day. At the end of the day, you can maybe focus for 2 minutes. At the end of the second day, you can maybe focus for like 10 minutes. At the end of third day, 20 minutes. And once you really know how to focus your attention, you start focusing on the feelings going in your body, because there are feelings all around on your skin and in your body, but you're not focused enough to feel them. So that's one thing that you learn to do. And the principle is that you gotta feel what your body gives you, but not react to it. And it's supposed to bring back memories, bring back trauma of things you had, and being able to get them out of your body without having a positive or negative reaction, to get them out of your system. And that's really something really amazing in the way you do it, because you never have a chance to do it in a different context.
And what did you do during the rest times?
Sleep or look at the city. There would be the top of the building, and the door wasn't closed. They didn't see it, so I'd go on top of the building and watch the sun go down on Kathmandu. But on the 8th day, they saw me going there and they closed the door.
Oh no. Because you really didn't have any distraction, so no
Nothing.
book, no phone.
You cannot have anything. You have to give your passport and your phone when you arrive there.
Oh wow. And what was your, I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but what was your biggest learning?
One learning I got is that there's feeling all around in our body. The theory where you can remember things that you did forget, or you can remember trauma and get trauma out. I did not get it, but when we're talking with other people, some people do. I saw some people going in trance and really being changed by the meditation, but I'm maybe not this advanced in meditation, or maybe it's not for me. So I know it worked for some people, so some people it doesn't. But the theory behind it was really interesting, and I was glad that I could be introduced to it.
And do you still meditate?
I do not. I think I might in sometimes give it a try again, but it was a good thing to learn while I was on a trip.
Okay, so not good enough for you to apply it in your everyday life.
I didn't feel like it was that big of a change in my everyday life.
And then after this retreat, you went directly back to India? Or what else did you do in Nepal?
So in Nepal, we were trekking for 6 days. Went on the Annapurna base camp. So hiking 4 days up to 4,300 meters, 2 days down. We visited Pokhara, Kathmandu. We visited the natural reserves, saw rhinos, tons of animals. We saw tigers also, because there are tigers in the wild. And at some point we were cycling, and at the middle of the day we're eating noodles on the side of the road, talking with Nepalese. And they asked us, do you want to see tigers? And we're like, hell yeah, we want to see tigers. And they explained that over there are tigers that kill humans, but once they kill a human, they get taste for the human blood, and so they gotta do something about it, so no other human gets killed. And they have to trap the tigers and feed him other meats and teach him for a long time not to eat humans anymore, and then can give it back to the nature. So we saw some of those tigers. It was really impressive how the cage is, because the tiger is so powerful that the cage has to be really, really strong. And these tigers are huge. We saw elephants in the wild. It's really amazing. And right after the retreat, we had 2 more days on our visas. So we cycled all the way out of Nepal, and we cycled all the way to Kolkata. So there was 900 kilometers between Kathmandu and Kolkata. And what was interesting is that between Kathmandu and Kolkata, these places in India where no tourist ever goes. And with my friends, we were cycling. So we saw a lot of people which were 25, 30 years old and had never seen a tourist in their life. So it was the craziest thing they ever saw. And we saw people like this every day. And we'd sleep in a random town in the east of India. We'd ask, hey, can we set up our tent next to the temple? They would always say yes. There would be a small area next to the temple where we'd sleep, and we'd discuss with them. The whole village would come to see us. It was really fun. A lot of attention, but really fun.
That must be very cool. But did they speak English, or how did you communicate?
It depended. So there are different languages in India. Some speak Hindu, Bengalis, or other languages. And some speak English in some regions, some don't. But even in the smallest villages, the kids would speak English through YouTube, to TikTok, to everything, because now everyone has a phone. And they would call the kids to speak with us and do the translation.
Oh, that's cool. So you had amazing interactions with those people?
Yes, sometimes it was overwhelming because every day would be the same questions. But it was like that for 2 weeks, so it was fine.
Yeah, but 2 weeks is still long.
Not on a 9-month trip.
Yeah, true. And how was the nature over there? Is it worth it if some people want to visit?
No, it's not something you would do by yourself, because it's an agricultural part of India, and it's basically fields. And where we're more near Calcutta, it becomes more of a jungle and it gets interesting. But we don't go for the nature in this part of India. It's really rural and far from the cities.
And how was Calcutta?
Like the 2 other big cities, it's crazy. So many people, so many things happening at the same place. That's one thing I really liked about the city.
And where did you go after Calcutta?
After Calcutta, I flew to Hanoi, because between India and Vietnam there is Myanmar, which is in civil war at the moment, so we couldn't cycle there, and we flew from Calcutta to Hanoi.
Okay, well, I think we said it all about India and Nepal. I mean, I guess not all, but everything we could say.
We did say a few things.
Do you have anything you want to add? Something that happened, an anecdote that you really want to share?
I'd say that people should consider India in their travel list. It's not an easy destination, but it's really worth it. In the landscapes, in the culture, in the difference you're gonna see. Everything is different than your home country, and you're gonna learn so much. It's really something worth doing.
Which part of India would you recommend more if someone could go only to one place?
Depends. If you like the mountains, you would go in the north, near Ladakh. The mountains are amazing over there. It's also the Himalaya. If you prefer the beach, you would go to the west on the coast. If you prefer the desert, there is also the desert near the Pakistan. If you like the tropical areas, you can go to the south. There is a place for everybody in India.
Okay, well, sounds amazing. I hope some people will go. Thank you, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.